it wasn't a lot of blacks that lived in the chain gang area. That we were still experiencing white flight when I first moved there. And at that time, you know, that's like going to grammar school with 8 different black families one year, and the next year, because of the white flight, the riots had just happened, people were selling their homes and moving to Inglewood, because at first it was hard to get a home in Inglewood. In that era when my parents moved there, because there wasn't a lot of blacks living there. We moved there, and within a few years, you had the conflict with the gangs had started. You still had racism. When I was a kid, what is it? It's 5'9" brim. You know, that's all I knew over there. That was before they became the 5'9" Hoovers, and the 6 deuce brims were like created. The Hoover family, yes, that's Shaft and his group of people.
Did you guys hang out with them?
Well, I hung out with them a little bit behind Dorsey High shooting dice. I went to Dorsey for a minute, and he used to come up there, you know, but he's actually a friend of a relative of mine, you know.
So they didn't come to Inglewood to hang out? Or?
Yeah, they came to Inglewood to hang out.
Is that what?
And we used to go to the park and hang out with them. I met Raymond through Big Bunch over at another dude's house named Raymond that lived on 106th Street off of Prairie. We were all sort of in the cars, and we had a dispute one night at a dance, you know, and Raymond Washington's car got towed up in the middle of Crenshaw, right, parked on Crenshaw. We was having a dance at a church, and they walked in, and you know, it was on and cracking. You know, you act like that, okay, we can act like this too, you know. You know, we prepare for this bullshit.
So they came on some gangbang shit or some just
like bully shit, you know. You know, you niggas is grown, man. You know, you guys is grown, you pushing your way up in somewhere, and now it's an issue, you know. And you forgot who the fuck you fucking with. To the long table like one time with a partner of mine, you know, it was something that he was into, you know, his name was Little Caesar. And I just waited. I didn't go in and participate. Well, it was about a peace treaty thing for everybody to try to get along. But there had already been some problems up there when you got the dude from the Brims, I think, had got killed. You know, the dude is dead and gone, but that's still what created the issue. The Godfather Crips and other groups of Crips, the 30s, and this isn't like somewhere like San Diego where, you know, there's buffer zones between your neighborhoods and shit like that. No, everybody where we lived at that time, even like now, your neighborhood butts right up against somebody else's neighborhood. If you live down the street from the liquor store and the liquor store's across the street in that nigga neighborhood, you don't go over there. Fuck that. Go 5-6 blocks away unless you want to maybe have a confrontation because you don't know who you're going to run into in the liquor store or in the market and end up having a shootout or some shit.
So Crips was just Crips to y'all? You didn't see the Godfathers as something different?
Well, you seen all of them as something different because at that point in time, they was all struggling for their own identities. You know, the 8 trays, all of them were trying to put themselves on the map. You know, one group no more ruthless than the other, and the Hoovers were pretty damn ruthless. You know, take nothing away from them. They was pretty fucking ruthless. The 8 trays ran a long ways. You know, 8 trays were big. What are now the north side 8 trays. Rolling 60s and the 8 trays. When we were having a conflict that went on and all that began, that conflict, they were together. They had not had the conflict that broke them up. And you know, that's what happened. You know, they were together at that time, and then they had the conflict, and you'd run into different ones and have different conversations with each one. You know, you might run into somebody from A-Trade, like Melvin Palmer or somebody, Skull or somebody, and we'll have one conversation, and you have a conversation with somebody else, you know, but that was their thing. Babyface, he was a real dude. One day, me and him were talking, and he had indicated to me that if I came along with them and my peoples, that, you know, well, you know, then we neighborhood Crips, you know, all the way from here to Imperial, you know. He said, we just walk into, you know, these other groups of motherfuckers, and, you know, and then this neighborhood Crips from here, from Slauson to Imperial, or past Imperial, 120th at the time, because there was no 105 freeway. This had to be like 1975. And you had all kind of other problems going on, police problems. The police in Inglewood were fucked up. And that's just to say the least. The Hawthorne sheriffs were fucked up. Lenox was fucked up. You know, the Hawthorne police and the Lenox sheriffs would beat you up and try to do you in. You know, don't get caught getting chased by the Lenox sheriffs. They'll shoot at you. The Inglewood police were beating people up and dropping them off in Crip neighborhoods and shit. Had a couple of cats get beat up by the police. The police dropped them off in the 60s, and somebody from 60s bring dude to the hood and be like, I got your boy in the car. He got beat up by the police. Oh, okay, thanks. You know, what can you say? You know, you see this dude again, you know he got a pass, you know, permanently. Big Rick was a good dude. I run, you know, I fucked with a lot of cars. Even that I was a little dude, I was a youngster, I fucked with a lot of cars. And I would, from time to time, run into Big Rick, you know, out in the streets. But he was like Babyface. He was a good dude, you know. Stagger Lee was a good dude, you know. Ace Rat was a good dude. Me and Stacy Bullock went to junior high school together, along with a dude named Jay Clayton. Jay Clayton they were West Side Crips. Jay Clayton was Jay Clayton. He was doing his thing ever since we were in junior high school together. Me and Jay Clayton used to go get swims together. So I've been knowing him since I was a kid, you know, like right out of grammar school, you know. And Jay Clayton, I used to hang out with Jay all the time. From junior high school, the beginning of junior high school on, you know, me and Jay remained friends up until his death, you know. Well, Ricochet come to Warren Lane, that's David Black's nephew.
Who's David Black?
David Black was one of the original Inglewood families. Gangster. Was in the newspaper. Shot up the bus, the county bus. That's the homie. You know, it don't take an army of us to get down. You know, my nigga.
All right, so back to Ricochet.
Back to Ricochet. I met Ricochet in grammar school. He's a real one. He's, you know, one of the originals. Just like me. He's a day one dude. The Border Rats, the Rolling 80s, the 80th Streets, all of that was one group. We would move as one big group. You don't, you know, you're fucking with everybody. You know, I would consider him a part of the Chain Gang era. He came along in that era. He was always a sharp-dressed dude, even in grammar school. I'm talking leather jacket, slacks, Stacey Adams. Man, we like in the 4th grade, dude. Originally, he was living on Van Ness. And that's when I met him. We're like, you know, in grammar school. me and him became real close friends. To this day, we're still close friends. Ricochet lived in the 60s for a while. P-Bone from P-Stone lived in the 60s for a time when we was youngsters. He lived over there. I used to go over there all the time. I used to go holler at Lurch and shit all the time. I used to go to Pyru Street sometimes, went there as like a young dude with some other cats a few times and got partners that lived over there. And then, had met different cats that lived over there that, especially when I started low riding and going places, I'm meeting cats that had grown up over there that were building hell of a cars, So it was, the times were good, man. As long as you knew what you doing, and there was a lot of gunplay though, but it was a lot of fucked up shit happening. Bartender, that was back in that era. Pudding, the guys from the Four and the Deuce are straight, man. Those are peoples too,
What did you call them?
The Four and the Deuce.
What is that?
That's the area along Central Avenue, along that area, right where Pyru Street is. You got the Four, you got the Deuce and the Four and the Four and the Deuce or whatever. It was a lot. It's not something that people should glorify, being a gang member ain't nothing to glorify. A-Bay, Papa T, Salty, L-Baby, BM, Bully, they were all pretty tight. They were a pretty tight group of guys. They all knew each other pretty well. A-Bay was like a regular dude, fun-loving dude, nice dude. He wasn't, no fucked up person. A lot of people in Los Angeles don't really even know who they're related to, because the feud has been going on so long between the Bloods and the Crips that people get detached from their relatives, from their families. Everybody's not a criminal. And you can't say everybody's a killer. Everybody ain't built like that.